Jan and Peter here. Jan of Let's Play History, YouTube channel, fame, and we'll give you that at LinkedIn fame, right? How are things going for you, just in general? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, doing alright.
What kind of wargaming stuff are you doing?
Just hoping that some bigger projects finally materialize. What I'm doing wargaming wise, well,
I guess maybe split it up. I mean, you are hosting some games, right? You are mastering or umpiring some games professionally too, right? Occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm running some Kriegspiel games for practitioners, specifically like invitational games for selected people. I'm also now sort of as a freelance job running crisis simulations and sort of historical political education games as workshops. Yeah, and then
how are you finding that? Like, first of all, how are you finding that? But then, how are you finding that work as well, right? Like, literally.
Yeah. I mean,
how are you?
So one of the games
advertising yourself?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So one of the games. First of all, let's talk about the games first. One of the games is Neustart, which is pretty popular serious game that's simulating a local blackout.
Okay.
Or rather, a regional blackout, but sort of the focus is on a local town, and then security services and administration and so forth, they have to sort of manage the situation, supply the populace and try to keep public order. And that's also used by the military command staff college in Germany and so forth. So that's how I got in contact with that. And then I'm using actually Weimar Fight for Democracy, which is a commercial off-the-shelf game. Pretty complex, I guess, to get into at least. Using that for historical political education. And with those games, I mean that's a whole huge topic. But with those games, you need a lot of facilitation and contextualization, because the game is so complex, and if you have a group of players who are not used to playing mega board games or war games or what have you, some of which have never played anything but chess or I don't know, Yahtzee or something, then you need to guide them through. And what helps is if you not put them in the player position, but in the historical role they are enacting, provide them context for that, so that they are in that mind, and then you can
and then kind of help them guide what they're trying to do, what the game allows them.
Yes.
I love that. I like that. That's really cool. Now with Field of Glory Kingdoms, of course, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. I wish I did that for myself, right? Like I feel like sometimes with this game, especially just strategic games in general, I don't like. I think I don't connect with them as well because I do horribly in them. First of all, whatever, because first of all, I have a horrible attention span, but I'm finding now that I'm taking my time on them a little bit more, and just kind of, there's a certain point where you have to force yourself to think differently, right?
Right.
It's just really interesting. Wargaming in general, it's just awesome. It's just like you gotta kind of rescale your thoughts. I'm a little too grand tactical when I play. Meaning I make huge forces and then I try to kill them off with my Prussian and Bohemian neighbors, which you'll see here in a second. So yeah, I like just kind of back to that topic. It's interesting. It's interesting to start looking at games in a role perspective. In a what is my purpose? What is my intent? What game end state am I looking to get? Obviously win, but but does it translate otherwise? Like,
Right.
in other words, if you don't have the rules, does it translate?
Hmm.
And it was interesting that I think you mentioned in some of your like LinkedIn posts that people that never really roll or war game that much really enjoyed it because
Hmm.
I think because you gave them the experience of the decision making.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting,
And I mean,
interesting
in
topic.
general, sort of they can relate or connect to the topic because Weimar
Right.
Republic is, of course, a huge thing. So everybody learns about that in school and so forth. But the details, they don't know about the details, right? And problem then is the game doesn't teach them either. It has a lot of cards with characters and events, and there is a headline about that, but it doesn't tell them why is that important, what exactly did happen there, what's the context of all that. So if you have either the players sort of provide that context, which we sometimes do, like have them in advance research brief inputs for every card and event, or we do that narratively as facilitators as the game progresses.
Interesting.
Then they really start to understand the conditions that were present at the end of World War One and how that sort of transformed or not until 1933, right? Because if you look back, and the popular imagination always is like, yeah, well, at least like in the late 20s or so, or mid 20s, Germany was stable and they had solved their sort of revolutionary issues from the end of World War One, and oh my God, how did 1933 happen? But really, it's a continuous process, and all the issues that are present in 1918 are still unresolved in 1933. So, yeah. And then also, and that's just one last point on that, a detailed point maybe, it's often said that sort of after World War II, Germany has learned and drastically changed the constitution to prevent that from happening. And that is basically only true in one single point, that there isn't the sort of absolute power for the president anymore. Everything else is almost the same.
No more emergency powers, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting, I guess.
The Palpatine rule.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happened here. Wow.
And then it's also, of course, very topical as we are looking forward or scared probably to some of the elections coming up.
Ditto.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Right.
No comments.
Yep.
As if we could, as if sometimes you can't even write the script. Start sharing here. I think it's my turn, basically.
Yes,
anyway,
it is.
Right? And I got myself
I will share
ready.
mine too, so then you can switch later on.
Yep. So as you can see here, we have an interesting patchwork of Polish domination, semi-domination in my own mind, I guess. Yeah, I don't even know what I was doing here. Interesting. I wish I had kept better. Honestly, I wish I had kept better screenshots throughout. I've kept a pretty good amount. At some point, I'll do a photo dump. But what are some of these? Oh, those are just port markers. So generally, my economy is horrible. It always is. I had to just sell a bunch of regional decisions to make up. Hey, when I start to get in the red, there's a certain point where I just go. But also, my ploy of semi. See, I don't know how to extend very well. I don't know how to, or at least I'm still learning how to persist any of my outward probing, if you will, because I had originally taken over. Again, very similarly, I usually thrust in the middle of these countries to give them absolute chaos, And I probably could have taken over Prussia, but I couldn't follow through because there's a certain point where there's just a certain point where it falls in on itself economically, right? You just can't maintain. It's very difficult to maintain. Like, this was just a recent incursion, I'll call it.
Yeah.
Almost an accidental incursion. Almost all my wars are accidental incursions, which I guess is very medieval of me. At one point, I had the Rus declare war on me, and again, I think that was kind of more of an accidental war situation too. So here's the after results. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, I did just defeat this Moravian army. Actually pretty soundedly too. I have some screenshots of it that I might reply with later. So wait a minute, where are these Okay, that's mine. That's my Poland one. Oh, there's the Bohemian army there. They're about to. Oh no, actually no. I'm still pretty good here. Yeah, it's a pretty significant army here. I'm not gonna do too much.
Yeah,
here.
that's
Let's
one
go through my.
thing you don't really see when forming your armies, right? As soon as they are in combat and taking losses, which currently is the case, we saw that with the yellow and orange triangles in the corner, that's their status. Then you have to pay extra money for them, of course, because you're trying to replenish the forces, as well as manpower and metal.
So we have claimed it, but again, let's see what some of these other notes are. Yeah, so Moravia's hold on Olomouc, has been shattered, for we have claimed it in the name of our nation for no other reason, just because it's there. Apparently. But let's just take a look at the economy a little bit in my ledger, and at some point I'll just go forward here a little bit. But structure, I usually do by structure count to see from the. Like, most of my larger cities are pretty equitable. I try to keep at least 3 or 4 towns about to that level. I'm no longer doing the blanket regional decisions. I'm trying to keep it. Here, I'll show you more at a regional level. Let's see if I can find a regional level here. Here's a regional level. No, not regional, provincial. Again, I try to keep some with open slots.
Yeah.
I do tend to kind of, I don't know, I try to balance out money and food primarily using this, but using direct decisions as well. Again, not too much a rhyme or reason at this point. As just for the audience sake, as you can see, you do have some more general focus. You can give them focus on buildings and so on, instead of just micromanaging it. But I'll say the micromanagement isn't really too micromanaging. That's the one thing I like about this game is, you know, let's go down to the kind of the region level real quick.
Yeah, and actually the problem I see with the provincial build orders is that, I mean, the reason they are important is because they allow you to build buildings which don't take up building slots when your regions are already at the current limit, right? Before they have additional population growth. Thing is, though, it automatically puts a building in every region. And that means they are building horribly slow. And you can't, even if you...
Well, that's what, yeah.
If you then go in and manually sort of decline some of the buildings, next turn they start building again, right? So that's, yeah.
Yes, that's what I experienced very early on, because I was a little too flippant in my use of this, right? But I don't think, there really isn't otherwise an auto manage functionality, right? No, it'll automatic, right? Oops. Wow, I just heard a chicken go. or a rooster in the background. Yeah, there's some random sounds in this game that'll absolutely like
Yeah.
startle you. I've been sitting here, all of a sudden a rooster's coming at me. But what I do like about the game is it does give you some nice indicators. What is that saying? Earth movers, reassuring protection, and festivity. This tends to kind of summarize certain events in the region
Hmm.
reasonably well. My loyalty's been pretty good. Manpower is reasonable. My metal production's fine. My legacy is pretty reasonable for where I was. What I was shooting for is just to kind of maintain 1 or 2 or 3 in that second tier. Poland at this point was generally second tier, but I feel like I've done pretty reasonably well for being a second tier or a B player. So I'm just gonna pop this forward now. And I'll give it back over for you to describe where you were. I mean, I didn't have a lot of rhyme or reason. At one point, Prussia declared war on me, and that just kind of made me, of course, want to annihilate them.
Right.
And then Bohemia was just kind of a whim. I should have checked with you before I went that way. Were you intending to go? Were you intending to soon go after Bohemia?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, all right.
The big issue is that basically everybody around me is sort of part of the realm anyway.
Right.
And that poses some issues.
Right. Yeah, I'll let this go through, but then I think before I hand it over to you, I'm gonna just look at my leader and the summary of that. Just gonna show people a little bit. I kind of wanted to show folks just kind of what you see. See, I am an ascending petty kid, and I'm doing pretty reasonably well with the progress tokens. What about yourself? Well, we'll take a look.
I believe I have 4 or so. Or maybe I just got another one. I don't know.
Oh boy, what do I got here?
Oh,
this is gonna be a close one. Yeah, they're mad at me. Alright, let's view the battle real quick. Oh wow. Okay, I should get this.
yeah, especially as you have the flanking forces there. That's pretty good. Yep, flanking forces saving the day.
Uh-huh. That didn't go so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's because they already have taken hits and effectiveness losses before.
Bye-bye. There we go.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good thing you were fighting in an open plains there. Otherwise, you probably have lost, even though you had more forces.
So now it's time to take over the whole damn country. I think there's no better time than now. Right now. Now that I've weakened them, I'm pulling my other army. No, we won't do that. Emissaries have reached us with a proposal of peace. Let me get. Is this Bohemia asking for? Who is this? Petty King. Who is that? Oh, Moran. And then look at all my wars. I just can't see where that is. I want to go ahead and close this up. Pull a Russia and start grab my Crimea here. Let's see. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna get
if you click on them in the left hand side there,
those should be here.
Yeah, those should be the ones offering you.
Good gravy. Why is he? Where is that? That's way over there. What? No, I'm not gonna. I love all these Russian provinces. They're. I'm not too worried about it. All right. All right. Let me get myself over to you so you can talk about what you've done. So generally, I'm pleased. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of what not to do at this point. Now I just need to kind of start steering towards an actual strategic plan.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I survived okay / well. Some of these other things that are going on. Getting more claims against me. New regional thing that I can probably sell for money real quick. Okay, good. Oh god. Oh wait, this is just the replay of it. That was interesting. That was weird that I went through it and then it still replayed it to me. Alright, let's just go and I'll hand it over to you.
Alright.
So one thing is what we've done about 20 years worth, which is roughly 40 turns. I can't even... It takes a while to play this game. I really wish you could pick a different sliver of time like you can in Crusader Kings, right? I think you have a little bit more control over start and end. So if the developers happen to end up watching this at all, request, especially for the larger campaign, being able to kind of pick a slice would be wonderful.
Right.
And so it should be back to you.
Yeah, it is.
Let me remove myself and add you, and then I'm gonna go mute for a little bit and let you kind of talk about what your ideas were, what went right, what went wrong, what you were thinking, what did you learn that you didn't know before we last talked?
Yeah.
Go for it.
So just the rough overview is that my initial idea was to head for Frisia and take that region and create a province, potentially another vassal. That, however, was prevented by Lower Lorraine and Saxony not giving me passage rights, and then Lower Lorraine starting to taking Gelre. So that wasn't an option anymore. Instead, I decided to take Milano, which was very important here to form the province down south, because I have tremendous authority issues in Italy because it's so far away from my capital, which is in Goslar and not, as you would assume, in Vienna, because it's historically not Vienna yet. Thing is though, mechanically, if you lose Vienna to a rebellion, for example, then the Holy Roman Empire will collapse nonetheless. Because in mechanical terms, that's the capital of the realm. Okay, so I turned south, crossed the Alps, took that, wasn't a big thing. And then I had planned for several turns to attack Carinthia, which was one of my vassals at that point. But originally I think there was a little bit of a bug going on because I tried to attack them with a sneak attack, which allows you to immediately invade. That didn't happen though, so I moved to the south. So, but then once I had finished that, I decided, well, I'm going for it anyways because they don't really like me, and it's super important for me to get this province. So these 3 regions are part of a province Vienna is in, so that's super important to stabilize my position here. Problem was they were of course a vassal of mine, and so in addition to being a member of the Holy Roman Empire, so I had to break vassalage and then declare war on them, which caused almost everybody else in the empire to be mad at me for doing so, and I lost. I think at that point I was actually allied with Lower Lorraine. They quit the alliance, and I believe one of the Aquileia probably even left the empire. Not quite sure. But yeah, everybody is angry at me, so I had to throw a lot of money around to sort of get them a little bit more relaxed about that. So yeah, started to besiege Friesach a few turns ago, which I guess probably will take some time, or we'll have the replay continue so we can see what's going on there. But I don't think that I have already taken that, probably not. Some reinforcements coming in from the north, some more ranged units. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, there isn't really that much I can do, I feel, which is quite interesting as the Holy Roman Empire. Because you are surrounded by vassals and members of the empire, you can't expand that much. I
Right.
could
You have to
potentially
kind
go
of.
north if I wanted to.
So I think one of the only things you could do is like expand your domain size in order to progress to the next level, right? Like how it sounded like you were pretty close to potentially progressing, right? Like if you
Yeah,
click on your.
how many thingies do I have? Yeah, 4. Right. I started one level below, I think. Then I progressed into ascending, which actually is a bad thing because I'm losing, I think,
Like what was the significant difference? So
authority
well,
here,
first,
penalty 15%.
so what allowed you, generally speaking, just for the audience sake, what had allowed you to do that? Was it the fact that you were at that previously unstable, and then you had achieved 4 tokens, and then was there what were the factors
Right, I
in being?
started at unstable and then I acquired 5 progress tokens. And the way you do that is by staying in the top third of the authority rating. You can see here the bottom third, these orange colored countries, they have a chance to acquire a regress token. Then
Right.
there are the ones in the middle, which then nothing happens to them. And the ones at the top of that ranking here, they have a chance to gain a progress token every turn. So that's just a matter of luck and time. The thing is, though, that I mean, I was in a pretty comfortable position on top of that, the top of that ranking, so it wasn't that much of an issue. But as soon as I progressed into the currently ascending state, I now have an issue with authority because I'm actually losing authority every
Right.
turn, which is a bit of an issue. And then I, of course, also have to spend authority when I declare war and all that. So I'm pretty much
Yeah.
hoping
For
for the
the
fifth.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the audience sake, I'm just reading from the manual. You mostly gain authority by having a domain smaller than your notional level, which is like basically a line in the sand of how many regions you can have in your personal domain.
Mm-hmm.
But also by winning battles, taking regions you have a claim on. That's important. From events and certain buildings. So, and then in reverse, it can be lost by exceeding domain size
Mm-hmm.
and for various other reasons. A bad defeat will be costly for it. Declaring war, like you just said. So I'll stop talking.
Yeah, that's an important thing. And I think that's a very interesting mechanic that was present in empires as well. So, I mean, in order to improve, you want to ascend, you want to progress. But then if you progress too far, maybe we can see that somewhere here. No, probably not with the
It's
empire, but
it's really the timing of it, right? There is some
yes.
risk involved, as you're
Yeah.
pointing out. There's
If you
risk
progress too
involved.
far, you sort of become decadent, one could say, and then authority breaks in again. So yeah.
I mean, and this is something that could be, maybe found in Crusader Kings in other mechanics, but this is one of the only games that really kind of
Mm-hmm.
focuses on this and
Yeah.
does it pretty well from what I've
Right.
experienced at least.
So unfortunately, I've still not managed to breach the walls of Frisach, which, even though my army is much stronger than these guys, I don't really want to attack them because this is mountain terrain. So frontage is only 6, so probably won't be able to flank them, and I get a defense bonus of 2,
And that's the main
plus
fact.
the
I mean,
walls.
that's as we discussed last time. I mean, that's really the primary factor
Yeah.
which is interesting, even in and of itself. I have yet to play this game with FOG2 Medieval
Hmm.
because I kind of like the lack of control. It's different.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
unique,
yeah.
right?
It is.
Right. Yeah. on its own, the game stands very well, and it gives you
Hmm.
a unique decision-making experience around when to commit to battle.
Right.
Because if you knew that you were going to do it in Field of Glory 2, then you'd probably act completely differently,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I think you do have a little bit more control over what is going on than, let's say, in Crusader Kings or Europa Universalis and the like. In that you could alter the composition of your army based on where you're going. So if you plan your your operation ahead of time, then you analyze the terrain and the frontages and which units fight well in what kind of terrain. So you could alter your army composition to fit that the circumstances. Which I think in like Crusader Kings, it's just a calculation thingy. But yes, you are right. If that's one of the issues, I very much like that you can export your battles and import the results back into empires and also kingdoms. Thing is that it doesn't translate that well, because you have so much more control in Field of Glory 2. It's much easier, I think, to win those battles than it would be if the kingdoms or empires engine would resolve them.
I agree, and more so even against the AI, right? Now,
Right,
see,
yeah.
that is the thing. Are you? Are you able to export these into? Oh, that was one of the things that
Not
you
from
can't.
multiplayer, not from multiplayer. Only if you play the campaign
Me
single
too.
player.
I'm wondering, like, in other words, if it's human versus human, you have a relatively equal standing
Mhm.
potentially in playing it within Kingdoms. I just don't. Did they allow that in Empire? Is that the same thing for Empires?
Yeah, it was the same. You could
Hmm.
only export from single player.
I wonder if that's just a functional issue more than anything, or timing, or you know what I mean, the way that they're doing their PVM timing. Or I might reach out to the developers and
Yeah,
just kind
maybe
of ask them
it
why.
is because you have to. No, I don't know.
I definitely
Should be
understand why you would
possible. Yeah,
default
yeah, yeah.
to this. I think if anything, it might just be the fact that they just whatever. I think they want you to concentrate on the core of the game or whatever. I don't know. Hmm. I think I do need to kind of run here in about 5 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I think we have seen the major thingies here.
Okay, so my next question, maybe we can kind of expand upon this for as a wrap up. But
Mm-hmm.
where do you see yourself at, and where do you know, where to next? What would you do next? Like generally speaking, what would you concentrate on, and how would you enact that concentrating? Like if you were
Mm,
to describe what your plans are, not in game mechanics terms, what just based on where you're at and how you are doing,
yeah,
what do you
so
think you need to
I
concentrate on?
probably have to wait a little bit until the other members of the realm calm down.
Uh-huh.
But afterwards, I would probably try to start an external war, potentially in the direction of France, which is in a bit of a chaotic situation anyway, and then hope that other members of the realm will join me. Because even though they have a bad relationship with me now, there's a chance for that, just because the emperor calls. So that might be a good opportunity to stabilize the overall situation a little bit. I'm also, let me double check how old. Oh well, he's closing in
Yeah,
on
that was another
60,
thing I
so
didn't look
he's
at.
still all right. But
Yeah,
that might be another thing to plan ahead for when the emperor dies. There might be turmoil.
secession. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to
So the one
prepare
thing
for that.
I was gonna reach out to you via diplomatic channels to split Bohemia with me. I was gonna see if you wanted to just split the split the spoil,
Yeah,
sweet,
it's. I
for
mean, it's
the
again,
Holy Roman Polish Empire to
it's the
exist.
same issue here. They are. Or I can't even declare war because I have a royal marriage with them, I guess. But they are part of the realm. Very famously, the only sort of independent kingdom in the realm.
So at this point, I'll just be happy to if they sue for peace, and I'll leave them.
Yeah,
I might just have my Polish island and.
Well, I guess you could sort of concentrate or sort of reform your army, kick out a few of those units that have taken heavy losses, and then sort of stabilize. I don't think they have. I mean, here are 5 more units. Well, they are fairly experienced. That might be an issue, but otherwise, you might have broken them if you are now quick enough. That might be the more of an issue. They have fortifications, I guess. Here, yeah, they have. So it will take some time to siege through all of them, and that might allow them to rebuild their army.
Yeah, that's what I feel like in both situations I overreached, which is fine. Whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, you gotta kind of creep in this. You can't.
Right.
You gotta go for. You gotta lay claims. Try to get those claims. You get a good amount of authority from getting your claims. Try not to piss off your own people, your own vassals.
Oops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is another thing. I do wish I wish we could save this and just pick it up. Pick it up later. That would be another great functionality.
Yeah.
Like saving a challenge locally and then kind of like reloading the challenge. And even opening it up for other players potentially even would be interesting too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So whatever. So I'll reach out to the developers, kind of maybe I'll point them to this video and just kind of say, look, a couple things we noticed is being able to start and stop on certain years and being able to save it, because trying to get through 440 turns.
Yeah.
That's a good year, 2 year, 3 year community. So we'll see. All right, cool. It was fun. It was great. It's a great game. Yeah, it kept my interest, which is saying something, because I tend to not steer towards strategic. I like the game a lot because it's generally intuitive. A lot of relatively meaningful decisions. Just the right amount of lack of control. I would describe it as a positive. But some of that lack of control now, I have difficulty potentially. I'm having difficulty coming up with a plan and then enacting that plan precisely.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just the reality of medieval administration in kingdoms. So,
yeah, maybe. How is the other game going for you? If you want
mean, I'm doing fine. I am willing William to come early. I don't know how I can provoke that. I don't know if that's an AI player right now or not, but there is a decision for that, right? So I don't know if they.
Yeah.
Is it AI run? I don't know if we have.
It's AI. Yes. France is not, so that will be interesting. They can either turn against France or against you.
Yeah, right. So what I did is I petered up the army, right, which means made it grossly large and completely unmanageable, right, with the intention of killing them off as soon as possible. Right? So that's why I want if he's gonna do it, I want it to happen, but it's gonna be at least 5 years. So I'm like, I can't remember. Our turns are half years, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Half years. Yeah.
So I'm a good 10 turns plus from that potentially happening, and I'm having a hard time maintaining it. So I might just I might shave it down a little bit and then bring it back up when the thought being is the AI is kind of forced to make that decision in 1066. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm not sure if.
I don't know if that changes based on any other factors. So,
yeah,
but otherwise, I'm doing okay. I haven't had any revolts. I haven't had any claims that have been. Wales is still intact on its own. I haven't really done anything with them.
No.
I'm trying to keep everybody just generally happy. It's a very good, like, if you're a first time player or you're horrible at strategic, be England.
Yeah.
in the big, it says you're isolated for a good while, so you get to at least kind of learn quickly. I wouldn't put yourself on Holy Roman Empire. Which
yeah.
did you choose? Which one are you?
Norway.
No, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, there are also lots of new mechanics which aren't really explained, so I'm trying to figure them out. Sending my looting ships along the shores and wondering why, where I can make more money or why they don't send any back and all that stuff.
Well, maybe at a certain, how about at a certain year point, maybe we'll meet up and kind of give people a summary of where both of our nations are. I don't think we're going to be attacking each other anytime soon necessarily. So
Yeah, well,
if I can at least get, go
I'm
ahead.
currently fighting in Scotland, so we'll see about that.
Okay. All right. Duly noted.
Yep.
Okay. So then we're gonna have to schedule it so we can talk shite to each other next time. All right. So yeah, in a few weeks or something like that, maybe we'll get together and just kind of go over where that game is, because that one I don't mind letting run for however long it wants to run, but it's still it's gonna take it's still gonna take a long time to get anywhere. But whatever, maybe we'll go 100 years in or something. All right. Have a good one, Jan.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye. All right, everybody. So Peter just dropped, but and ended his stream. But I think I will play those 2 turns because why not? While we are at it. Brickworks have been finished in Brescia, which we love to see. Can't build anything here. What's going on in Swabia? They declared war on Carinthia, even though they hate me, and I didn't ask them to join me. A hemp field has been built in Ansbach, which is alright. Can't build there at the moment. We might shift one into food production rather. We could actually put both there, because this is part of Swabia. We do have a new population in Bamberg, although we already had 1 surplus building, so we can't build there. We have a new one in Leipzig, and I sort of picked the poultry farm, but don't really think that's necessary. Maybe we go health. We already do have imperial roads, which is pretty good. Or we go wooden church. Or the storyteller, money and legacy. Never wrong, right? Do I have a building that provides boni for stewardship buildings? I don't think I have. Not yet. I mean, health is important. Don't mind food and piety loss. Oh wow, there can be which processes here. If at least one population is a heretic in the region and there is also a clergy population, then the wise woman can be burned to the stake. Which actually isn't. I mean, it happened during the Middle Ages, but those witch processes are rather a thing of the early modern times. But anyways, it's fun to have a mechanic for that. Luxembourg has another claim on Pilsen. Didn't they have that before already? I thought they had. I'm a little bit unhappy about the fact that we haven't breached the walls. What's this? Translatio Imperii. We the prince electors with the empire are the true heirs to the noble figures of ancient Rome. It must be shown to the rest of the world so that none contest our superiority. That should be a realm trade, I guess. Translatio Imperii. Plus 10% authority bonus. Legacy generated by court expense increased by 25%. Even more legacy. That's crazy. How on earth is everybody else going to stop the Holy Roman Empire from a legacy win? We are already almost 1000 points ahead of the Byzantine Empire. And I think after like 100 turns, there can be an early victory. Which triggers if you are 1000 points ahead. From peasants to freemen. Show of authority. Radach's loyalty is pretty high. We have spies in Saxony. Swabia joined us. Okay, where do I want to have the peasant to freeman decision? Oh, absolutely in Leipzig. Absolutely. There we go. Another show of authority. That's still going for 3 turns. Where do I need stewardship? Usually down south, right? Well, the production is pretty alright here. Did we have one in Milano? Yes, we did. That's Pavia, not ours. Could do one here. Bergamo. For a stewardship boost. Or we do one in the capital. Why not? Show of authority in the capital. I guess I also want to make peace with those guys now. War score is 3%. Yeah, it can be a white treaty, why not? White peace. I don't mind. I don't mind anymore. Okay, let's trigger the next turn. Still dropping in the authority rating, but anyways, there are so many folks. There's quite a buffer until we could get into the central part of the ranking there, where we won't get more tokens. I'm hoping for another token this turn, maybe. Give me another token. Oh. Some achievement here. On to the next realm. Yeah, we got the progress token. Very nice. Our nation is not holding enough of its historical regions. We can't evolve to the next government until we hold at least one of these. Which one is it? Why is that? 5 tokens. The Hoftag has been convened. Okay. Basically the sort of parliament. Which is part of the realm trades, I guess. Another 10% authority bonus and regional loyalty bonus for 30 turns. Great. Still making -1. Mercenaries, show of authority. Which of the regions do I have to take though? Does it say that anywhere? Slim lead on legacy. Well, I don't know about that. Progress tokens 5. That's why I can't get any more, but... Oh, control prayer procced. Oh, I didn't know that. Should have looked at that. Well. And Peter was just asking me whether I wanted to attack Bohemia with him. I guess I want to. Once I finished up with Carinthia, that is. Now we have breached the walls and they are starving to death. We will launch an assault now. But I think that's the end of the playthrough anyways. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this unusual playthrough with recurring discussions. I learned or realized that I have to take Prague to progress with the Empire, which is interesting, given the situation, especially because well, he's 70, so maybe he dies before Henry dies. I guess I have to wait until that then before I can progress. Anyways, see you with any of the other playthroughs and let's plays and what have you. Have a good one. Bye bye.